Canada were knocked out of Qatar 2022 here at Khalifa Stadium by a rampant Croatia who won the game by 4-1. Many people who watch these hits may be aware that sometimes I write a few reminders coming into this or scripts to go by. Doesn't happen tonight. I'm going to speak from the heart and there's a lot to say. I think Canada will be very disappointed in the way that they played in the game. I think Canada were the best version of themselves against Belgium and came into this one trying to do the same. In the end, it was disappointing to see them play the way that they did. Ultimately, though, they were humbled by a far better team that outclassed them. Croatia are a wonderful side. Croatia have players that Canada can only dream to create and one day produce. Multiple players like Mateo Kovacic and Luka Modric, who ran the midfield and have won and combined 9 UEFA Champions League titles together. That's where Canada will one day hope to be. Right now, they are nowhere near that. I just hope people who watched this team recently over the World Cup understand that. Getting messages from back home about how disappointed Canada played and how flat they were, I don't think really tells the story. Those of us who are within the game tonight need to explain just the difference in quality that Canada and Croatia have. It was a night of great joy that started the match when Alphonso Davies scored around about 67 seconds into the game. A fitting number when you think about that was his number at the Vancouver Whitecaps when he started. And also a fitting hero to score Canada's first ever goal at a FIFA Men's World Cup. Afterwards, many of the media members waited around to speak to Alphonso Davies about it. Unfortunately, Alphonso Davies chose not to speak to the international members of the media press after it. That is a problem. Canada Soccer have got to continue to grow this game, and there are many people behind the scenes working hard to do it. There's a lot of international media here who wanted to make Alphonso Davies and Canada Soccer the story, and unfortunately didn't get to talk to the star. He did do media interviews afterwards for rights holders, and I understand why he did them, because he had to. Sometimes it's not about what he had to do, it's what we want him to do. It's a difficult night for Alphonso Davies and Canadian soccer players, but many of them I spoke to after the game, Stefan Eustáquio, Stephen Vittoria, Atiba Hutchinson, you could sense that the realization was there. There was ultimately a massive gap in quality. Canada will be disappointed that ultimately they weren't able to be anywhere near the version of themselves that I said earlier, but Croatia certainly played a part in that. It is very difficult to play against Croatia anyway. It is even more difficult when your midfield just simply collapses. That's what happened tonight for Canada. Stefan Eustáquio played 23 games now since the beginning of August, far too many, just couldn't go anymore. Atiba Hutchinson gave it what he could in his 39-year-old legs, and then he couldn't finish it either. John Herdman lost trust in some midfield players and tried to do the best he could, but in the end only found 2 to start. Jonathan David couldn't get involved in the game, and Kyle Larin was the same. Some of the best players on this World Cup journey ultimately weren't able to show up tonight. That's a disappointment for Canada, and ultimately, as I said, Croatia certainly play a part in that. They were marvelous. Kovacic, the man of the match, in my eyes. Kramaric got 2 goals as well, and they were ruthless in those areas. Many people will say it's a learning moment and a learning opportunity for Canada. Of course it is. But it's not just the Canadian players it's a learning moment. It's for us as well. This is base camp now. This is no longer just climbing the top of the mountain and be joyous and celebrating what they've accomplished. The journey to get here was always more important than the destination. Yet here we are at the destination now in Qatar to cover this team and to tell the stories for the people we're so thankful who are watching them back home. But this now, as I said, is just the beginning. The 2026 World Cup will come and Canada will host, and it will be nothing like this 2022 World Cup. First of all, it won't be here in Qatar. Second of all, they won't be playing teams like Croatia and Belgium who made the semi-finals in the past World Cup. Unfortunately, it's going to be an overinflated 48-team World Cup where Canada will be seeded in a group stage and get inferior opponents. These moments tonight, Tajon Buchanan, Alphonso Davies and others, they'll be there in 4 years, benefiting because of this. They're the positives, and of course Alphonso Davies as well. The disappointment, the fact that it ended after 2 games. It's crushing for any of us involved in Canadian soccer that this story of momentum and authenticity and really importance just will not be extended to a 3rd game. We'll all be there against Morocco, and Morocco are a fun team to watch, and the atmosphere will be tremendous. But it is really gut-wrenching that Canada weren't able to get to a 3rd game and get more people watching this team when they're in Canada. The climb continues. Many of us are continuing to do that with them, hoping that more people will continue to watch this team, and we're all thankful that they had that moment tonight after 67 seconds, and they had this moment in Qatar. Ultimately, it ends in disappointment. Belgium were too good in the end to score that 1 goal, and Croatia tonight were ruthless. One day Canada will continue to hope to play like that, but tonight was a firm reminder of just how far behind they are.